amazing that we open this message randomly from. Hello, everyone, and welcome as we are engaged in this moment with one another to connect with the message of motherly love. It reminds us of something that we were mentioning last week from a passage of the book Dawn of a New Era, in which we were mentioning a medium that took the opportunity to reincarnate, asked to reincarnate as a female, that she would be able to express herself in a motherly tone in the female body, obviously, to give us and teach us the through mediumship, through the work that she's doing. I believe she's still incarnated. And today we'll have Alba talking about motherly love, right? I think it complements what we were trying to explain last week, and we touched base on it. And Alba, a mother as well, a good friend, someone who guides us with her teachings as well, and her good heart to speak with us about this topic. So, with no further ado, we'll pass the word to you, Alba, and take us away. I'll let you know as I promised you, so you're not lost there, that we can see you.
Thank you.
Daniel will go ahead and good. You're good.
Thank you, Leito. Thank you, everyone. I don't see myself in the screen, but I will continue talking. I don't know while the technical. Here we go. So, hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good day in the future for the ones who are going to see or to watch this presentation later. It is with actually with a humble heart that we create this short and simple presentation, yet is very deep and it has very deep concepts that we hope is it touch your heart and your mind. As Divaldo Pereira Franco expressed, our heart is in the spirit, here in the mind. And again, I don't know if I need to wait for you guys to see myself on the screen or should I continue? Just give me a cue, please.
Alba,
Mm-hmm.
can you share your slides? The whole
Yes,
slide. Is
yes,
it sharing now?
it's here. But I couldn't see the screen was all black. So should I share or is Daniel? And I apologize to
No, I don't.
everyone.
No, you're sharing your whole screen there.
No, I'm not sharing.
Yeah, actually, share your whole screen. Actually,
Okay, I'm going. Okay, so now I'm going to share. Is that all right?
good. Yeah, it's good now. Give us a second. You good? Yeah, we're
Okay.
fine. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you for waiting. Okay. So later, let me know if you can see this the slides, the PowerPoint. I can hear anything, so I am going to assume you can see the
Yes,
slide.
we're
Oh,
good. Thank you, Alba. Yes.
perfect. Perfect. I wish we could edit this very first part, but it's part of life and it's part of nowadays, right? We are in this hybrid system, so we're still dealing with technology. So, to conclude the month of May, which is usually are dedicated to mothers around the world, and in the Christian and Catholic world, it is dedicated especially to Mother Mary. And there are different celebrations around the world to recognize the maternal love of Mary. So we are going to bring some insights about what is this motherly love? What it that means? Can anybody love as a mother? Even if I am not a parent in this lifetime, I am going to be able to acquire those skills. So let's see. We bring some insights. We're going to start with this quote by Maya Angelou, the great poetess, and she says, "If I could give you one thought, it would be to lift someone up. Lift a stranger up, lift her up. I will ask you, mother and father, brother and sister, lovers, mother and daughter, father and son, lift someone. The very idea of lifting someone up will lift you as well." And we brought this quote because this is the frame for our conversation tonight. It is about lifting someone else up. And in the process, we are going to lift ourselves as well. So we're going to start just very quickly to see what are the different types of love. Because we have the tendency, as a human beings to think that there is different categories for love. Let us start by saying that love is only one. Love is love. God is love. Love is God. But for us that are terrestrial minds, we need to make some categories and differentiate it. So the Greeks, they create like four main categories: eros, storge, uh, agape, and philia. And then they add a little bit more. So we went to this book, we just found it. It's a very interesting book. It's called This Is Your Quest by the author Joanne Reed. And she has a very lovely explanation about the types of love. And actually, the whole book develops the different categories as a quest for ourselves in life. So we're going to start with eros, that is the romantic or sexual love, the one that is between partners, between a couple, isn't it? They are dating, etc. Then we have philia or philios, that it is the brotherly or the sisterhood love. It's feeling part of a team, of a group. This philia also can extend to friends. So it's the love that we have for our brothers and sisters, and it's not necessarily connected with the blood type connection. So to anybody that we feel is a brother or a sister is philia. Then we have the storge love. This is the family love. That is the relations that are also between very close friends. But one of the interesting things about storge love, that love has to be with the blood ties. So it seems natural, and we are not taking here in consideration the perspective of the Spiritism, but it seems kind of natural that I was born with this father and this mother and these siblings, or these two fathers, whatever it is. Hey, I'm going to love them. And we grew up in that environment. And then we can find in the Spirit's book, we can find in the Gospel according to Spiritism, that there are some difficulties loving our very own family because previous existences. But it's kind of natural, this love. Even if we don't feel like, oh my God, how I love my sister, because we have had difference throughout our life. If she's in need, and she's in a difficult situation, or he, our brother, or my mother, whoever it is, even if we don't have this tender love among us because we know it's difficult, there is always a tendency for us to say, hey, no, don't insult my brother. Don't say that about my sister. It's kind of to protect the family, isn't it? Then we have ludos. Ludos, like ludos, it is the root word for playfulness or to play. That is actually an educational philosophy basic in ludus. So ludus is the playful, the fun, the exciting love. It could be among family members, it could be among partners or couples, but it's this joy, the joy that we share with others. And it's normally expressing between people that is dating, usually, or usually at the beginning of a relationship that we play, we go here and there when we have jokes. And sometimes through the time when a couple is being married or living together for so long time, the ludus kind of dissipate and is substitute for something else, but it's kind of dissipating, you know. Then we have this interesting category, which is mania or mania, and it is called the obsessive love. So it's not truly love. And let us remember, this is from a psychological, emotional perspective. This is not from the spirit's point of view. So mania is this obsessive love, which is of love. It's not love because when we hurt someone, it's no love in purpose and constant. You know, being very persistent. That is obsession. So we have examples in history like Louis, is Louis VII or Louis XIII? Well, one of these kings that had 7 wives and he kills all of them. It is an obsession with the person. I don't want to share the person. I want to control the person. I want the person for me. I don't want for the person to get out of the house. So it's not real. It's not love at all, but it is a category of our humanity, our emotions. Then we go to pragmatic, practical, is the love that endures. So when we were talking about ludus, this one over here, that usually is at the beginning of relationship, even a friendship, you know. But let us say of a couple, partners, they get married or they go to live together. So these exciting and funny, playful things is going to transform. Some people say to diminish, but it's actually a transformation into pragma here, what is a love that endures, that endures the pass of time. So as a couple, we don't need to do this or that, very playful or silly, just to express love to one another. But we are there with the deepest purpose. We are enduring obstacles together. We have our difficult moments. We have tough conversations. We compromise to one another. Is this construction of the relationship? We are giving here the example of a couple partners, but the pragma also is a construction in a friendship between two friends. We need to feed and to nurture the relationship. We need to call our friend and we need to go out for a cup of tea or to ride a bicycle. We need to continuously make the effort to call onto that relationship and to make it grow, isn't it? Because then things fall apart. Then we have philautia. Philautia is one of the favorites for us in this category, which is self-love. Is the love that is caring for ourselves, is being kind to ourselves, is taking care of our body, our mind, our spirit. obviously knowing a selfish position, but if I don't take care of me, who is going to take care of me? If I don't take care of my health, who's going to do it? Or my mental health. I'm not going to blame any other person because it's me. And from the spirit's point of view, we all know that this physical body, this beautiful, unbelievable, complex machine is temporary. And God lent us this perfect machine, even if we have illnesses, so even if we have organic difficulties. But it's a machine that we need to take care of, and we need to love, and we need to pet, and we need to say, I love you. And we need to talk with ourselves. The other day, we were talking with a friend about it, talking to ourselves and saying, I love you, because they are part of us. They are living things inside of us and taking care of our mind, our spirit, our relationships. And then agape. Agape is a word that have been used for centuries in the Christian world. And agape means community, reunion. Agape is this love for humanity, is collaboration, is solidarity, it is fraternity, it is building together. As a matter of fact, we are from Colombia, South America, and there is this region in Colombia at the south of the country, at the border with Ecuador, in which there is still some indigenous. And they have this custom when a couple is going to get married, all the villages come together, and the men they build the house, and the women they cook all day for everybody. And the name of that tradition is called agape, which is very interesting. Indigenous groups using Greek word, but it's very probably it's a inheritance from the Spanish word, isn't it? Or the Spain conquers. So today we are going to talk about motherly love. We don't see it here, isn't it? We don't see it. Well, we are going to talk about this agape love. This love that is, I love not because it's convenient for me, but I love because I want the good of the other person. I want for the other person to be okay, to be good, to be happy. And this is just summarizing very quickly. So that's what we're going to see, this agape, that is holding hands with others to create a community safe and secure. So let's continue. And here is the meaning from the very same book. Agape, or selfless love, is the highest and most radical type of love according to the Greeks. Agape is what some call spiritual love. It is an unconditional love, bigger than ourselves, a boundless compassion and infinite empathy. Agape is the purest form of love, free from desires and expectations, is given regardless of the flaws and shortcomings in others. Agape love is altruistic love, love that is given for its own sake without expecting anything in return. And if this is not the love of a mother or a father committed to his or her child, so then what kind of love is this motherly love? And the author continues. Agape is the love that is felt for that which we intuitively know something as being the divine truth. So it's also a connection with the divine by intuition. It's in our conscious. A love that accepts, forgives, and believes for our greater good. So we put this affirmation, this sentence in bold because we are centering actually our conversation in this definition. And we also know that this is a goal. This is something that we want to be, we want to get, we want to develop. And there are different internships when we reincarnate. So, for instance, when a mother or father loves with such a renunciation, is because this spirit specifically has been doing different internships or reincarnations practicing to be a mother or a father. Because as we see in the gospel, according to in the Spirit's book, actually, in the the section of the love, charity, and justice, there is a section just that pertains to filial love, motherly love, and then say, well, what happened with all these mothers and fathers that they are not good parents? What is going on with them? They are okay by abandoning their children or neglecting it. So what happened there? We understand, and actually it's explained there, that it is an internship, it's a practice. So we need to learn by practicing. So some spirits, they learn very quick. Some others, we are still in the process of learning. So all of us, at some point in our life as a spirit, we will have the opportunity to be in a father or a mother, either by having biological kids or adopting or fostering or working with kids, probably in a school, in education, in orphanage, having this interaction with children and youth is not necessarily being a biological father or mother. It's just having the relationship with children and youth. So, as Joanna de Angelis said, this motherly love that the Greeks call agape, the motherly love is this love that is the most similar to God's love. So we know we are a planet, a very low evolved planet, and comparing ourselves, our love with God's love it doesn't make any sense, isn't it? We are very far from that goal. However, we need to keep our eyes up to the greatest goal of full happiness and joy and love. So this motherly love or agape love, and it has another name that we're going to see later, is the closest that we can encounter on the planet, the closest love to God. So now, this is a rhetorical question. Just imagine that each one of us, we are being loved for the purest form of love that is God, free from desires and expectations. And God loves us regardless our flaws and shortcomings, our errors, our mistakes. And He loves us because He loves us because we are ourselves. And He's not expecting anything in return. Just let us meditate about it because we are thrilled about that love. So here in the Spirit's book, in question A90 or A190, Kardec asked the spirits, is maternal love a virtue or an instinctive sentiment common to both humans and animals? And this is something that we were questioning ourselves as well. Excuse me. Because if we see in nature and all these videos in Instagram and in Facebook, in social media, the cutest videos, about the hen and the chickens and all these things, we say, oh my God, this is lovely. Even a crocodile, when she opens her mouth and all the little crocodiles are inside of her mouth and she's very delicate. She doesn't close her mouth because they're there. Her babies are inside there. Just, keep them safe. So where's this coming from? This desire to protect and to love without expecting anything in regard. It is it is an instinct or it is an emotion that we build. So the answer is both. It is an instinct and there is an emotion. And it is common to both humans and animals. The difference is that in humans, this sentiment persists throughout life and consists in a devotion and self-denial that comprises true virtues. And that's one of the key points here for this motherly love, this maternal love, devotion and self-denial. We can see that in animals somehow, but it's an instinct. After the instinct, it comes an emotion, it comes a sentiment, and we're going up and up in developing this skill, basically, the skill of love, if we can say that. So we're going now to Joanna De Angelis, our dearest psychologist of the human mind. And we went to her to go a little bit deeper in this love that we can call agape according with the Greeks, or maternal love according with the Spirit's book. So in this book that we studied last year, later I think, I don't know, or the year before last year, Plenitude, the author is Joanna De Angelis, Through the Hands of Divaldo Franco, and there is a whole chapter called Altruism. So let us read together what Joanna has to say about altruism, and we start making connections with the concepts that we already expressed. She says that altruism is the very love taught by Jesus himself, the kind that practices selflessness to focus on the welfare of others, forgetting all wrongs in order to expand by means of aspirations related to progress, order, and happiness. So for all of you that are biological parents or are parents, you can adopt, be fostered, are parents of little kids. And they just throw a tantrum. Are we going to love them less because they throw a tantrum that they don't want chicken nuggets, they want meatballs? No, we know what is good for them, and let's say in this cases chicken nuggets, isn't it? And then when they are teenagers, are we going to love them less because they don't want to talk to us? They don't want us to hug them, kiss them in public, or they want to spend more time with their friends or sports of any other activity than with us parents? Are we going to love them less? And then if they pursue higher education, are we going to love them less because they're moving out from the house, or they're still in the house but they cannot focus in things of the house because they are taking care of their studies? No, because we want for them to progress and to be happy, disregard of what they are doing. or disregard or their actions towards us. We forgive very easily, by the way, as a parents, isn't it? Most of us. There are some parents that they are still in the internship. We're thinking now and this is a personal thing, we're thinking now in our grandfather. He was a tough guy, but he thought he was doing his best. He wasn't really, um, he didn't express emotions, but he was a provider. And he did his best with 9 kids. Uh, Nowadays, we have different type of fathers that they are providers, but they are also working at home and expressing emotions. So all of us somehow we're doing our best and for the good of others. They say practice selflessness to focus on the welfare of others. Here we have in the picture the beautiful example of Jesus by noon in this wheel with the woman that they don't supposed to talk to, isn't it? And with such a love and altruism, he approaches her and asks her for water. Let us continue. So Joanna says that it is customary to say that those who do not open their hand keep their heart closed. So if I don't open my heart, my hand, my heart is closed. This is true for generosity begins as a materialized sentiment that loves and desires to be of assistance. So when we are talking about the agape, eternal love, that we are going to call it now altruism, to develop altruism, we need to open our hands and let it go. Open our hands of the Spirit to reach out to others. Open the hands of our material hands to help, to assist, to donate, to volunteer, to caress, to clean others without expecting anything in return. And we have this last paragraph from the book Plenitude, the chapter, if we ever know wrong, is chapter 6. It's called Altruism. And Joanna continues talking about opening the hand. Opening one's hand is the gesture of letting the generous flow of giving pour forth from the heart to the outside world in order to manifest the grand forms of self-denial in the future. So we are like, oh, aha. So we start practicing this motherly love through altruism. So altruism is loving like a mom because we give, we open the hand to support, we open the hand to be there for others, and we don't expect anything. And also, it is a form of practicing. Is the grand forms of self-denial in the future. Because as a mother or as a father or whoever has the role of a mother taking care of little children, of youth, there is a lot of self-denial. There is no more time, is not enough time to share with friends, if none. What is to watch TV? What is that? You know, what is to see and read, having an ice cream? What is that? What is to watch my favorite movie on a Sunday when I have 3 kids that they want to watch, I don't know, Marvel Studios? And these are very simple examples. Or I don't really like mac and cheese, but these kiddos, they love it. So, okay, mac and cheese for everyone. Oh, what is to sleep? And I think Kristen and Daniel can agree with this. At least the first 3 or 4 years with the kids. What is asleep? What is that? We don't know. And when they are ill or sick, where's time? There is no time. Even to groom ourselves sometimes. It depends. What's that? Just doing things for my very own pleasure. Because as a mother or father or someone that loves like that, the enjoyment of life, the joy of life is to see your children, your youth happy. So sometimes if we go, I don't know, to animals and to a park with the games and everything, and we go without our children, amusement park, it's not the same, isn't it? It's like, oh, I wish so and so they were here. Oh, I think they will enjoy this and that. And let us put a stop here. The self-denial is not stopping to love ourselves, because we need to love ourselves, because then we will be so exhausted and drained that then we won't have anything inside ourselves to give to others. But it's just shifting our mind and start thinking in the needs of others. So we have an example here. We wanted to bring an example of this motherly love, that is the altruistic love. So we like to see like a love in action. You know, what is that? What it looks like. All these concepts that we have been talking about, what it looks like in real life. Is someone in the planet already doing this? You know, besides Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco and Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King, etc., someone else is like common people doing this. And we actually found this, we will say by coincidence, but we were reading a book that is called Anuario Espírita, Spirits Annuary from 2001. We just were reading for the pleasure of reading, and we found the story of Doña Aparecida. Aparecida Conceição Ferreira or Ferreira. Aparecida. So this woman, oh my God, she loved until the end, like a mother for everyone, very altruistic, generous, and self-denial. So we're going to give just some facts of her life. She was born May 19 in 1915 in a city called Igarapava in Sao Paulo state in Brazil. She got married with Clarimundo in 1934. In 1946, the husband suffers an accident, and then she needs to dedicate herself to work and to take care of the house. They already have children, and they're having a very humble life. By the way, Doña Aparecida, she didn't grow up with her parents. They don't relate why, but she was raised by an uncle that tried to provide her with the very basic needs. She went up to 4th grade, and then she married Clarimundo. So in 1954, she and her family moved to Uberaba, and this is to find more educational opportunities for health children, because it seems that the place that they were living, it wasn't, they didn't go up to high school or even after, so they moved to Uberaba. So Uberaba, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, it is a city that we recognize through Chico Xavier, and he's coming into the story. So she starts working, doing different things, as a maid or washing clothes or doing very hard, difficult jobs to help to bring the bread to the house. So a friend connect her with a health facility that is called the House of Mercy. And the House of Mercy, they were seeing patients with very contagious illnesses. So she starts working there, actually helping to clean the patients there. And it is a form, the author says, this is like a practice for her in the health field because she has a fourth grade education. So in 1957, after 3 years of working there, uh, staggering, they got 22 patients with this illness called pemphigus fusarius, or it is called wildfire. So the pemphigus fusarius is an autoimmune illness that is not contagious. It seems like it's genetic by genetics that you get it. So basically, the skin start to harden, and then it forms like a little bubbles with water, and then they explode. And then what is the skin starts to fall, and it gets into the clothes, and it's very very painful, and that's what is called wildfire or savage fire. And it kind of deform the whole, is the whole body, is the whole entire body. So in 57 arrived this number of patients, and she was told that she needs to take care of these patients. Well, by October 58, the House of Mercy doesn't have enough funds to take care of these 22 patients because this is a long, like a long lasting illness. You can recover if it's mild in 1 year or two, but sometimes patients they needed to stay in a hospital for 10 years. It's a very long, how do you say, illness, let us put it that way. So the House of Mercy, they don't they're not having funds to take care of these 22 patients. And what they do basically is they put the 22 patients on the streets. Families, they don't want to receive them because they think this is contagious. It looks like leprosy. If you Google, you can see the pictures. So she decided that she will take the most delicate patients, 12 patients, to her home. Actually, before she makes this decision, that very day, October 10th, she goes with 10 of them, and she starts knocking door by door in different neighborhoods in Uberaba, asking if they can house one patient for 1 night or 2 nights. And obviously people, they were very afraid and very scared. And we say obviously because people didn't know what was this illness. So they were very afraid. So by night, everybody's exhausted. The sun burned their skin. Everybody's suffering. So she said, okay, I take you home. And she was living in a very humble home with her husband and her kids. And she quit her job, actually. Although she needed the money, she quit her job. So Aparecida, basically, the fact that she took these patients to her home, it created commotion, and the press is there, and everybody's saying, how come? So this helped her actually to be into the eye of the public. And the St. Vincent of Paul Foundation, let us say, they say, we have a pavilion here in this hospital, you can use the pavilion for 10 days with your patients. And she said, okay. Well, the 10 days transforms in 10 years. And she continues taking tender care of the patients day and night without expecting anything in retribution. As a matter of fact, she moved out of her house because by the time her children, they were already young adults and they were working different jobs, so they were contributing to the family economy of the family. So she moves to the St. Vincent of Paul institution. One of the interesting facts that we found is in 1958, it was 26 patients there, and 3 or 4 years later, is 363 patients. So things start getting kind of out of control. So they decide to build a hospital, a specific hospital for the people with pemphigus flaccus. In 62, they start the construction, but they couldn't continue because the money wasn't enough. So Aparecida, she has an idea. She said she has 5 or 6 of the patients that are in better condition if they can go with her to Sao Paulo. So once they go to Sao Paulo, they start begging on the street and they start telling the story. This is what's happening in Uberaba. This is what we are doing, etc., etc. Unfortunately, uh, people didn't believe her, and someone called the authorities and the police, and she was arrested because they were thinking she was, you know, deceiving the people, and that this wasn't true, that she wasn't actually asking money for the hospital. So she spent 8 days in jail, very difficult days. And every time she was called in front of the judge, she repeated her story about how she was trying to get money for a hospital in Uberaba. So the judge gave her conditional liberty, or a conditional. So the judge asked her uh, for different signatures for the greatest authorities in Uberaba, from the government, etc., etc. So she got more than 70 signatures. She goes back to Sao Paulo, and even though the signatures of the authorities in Uberaba, they don't trust her. So it was necessary for one of the members, the police members in Sao Paulo, to actually go to Uberaba and visit the institution and see with his own eyes that she wasn't lying. So after that, the case is closed and they didn't get any funds for the construction. But this situation, again, gave her some eye, in the press. So people saw that she was working very hard for her her families. So people start making donations and actually start helping with the construction, with the means of the construction of the hospital. And they finally have the whole hospital that is called the Pemphigus Flaccus Hospital, and it's, it's over here in the picture. And then, since the illnesses took so long for the people to recover, and the patients were idle over there, just sitting on their beds and doing nothing. So she started a small classroom to teach the patients and their children, to teach them some basic things, she herself. So also she noticed that it was traumatic for the patients to be separate from the families, or some of the families, they were suffering in their economy. They didn't have means to survive because the mother or the father was one of the patients, so they were struggling. So she got the idea of building a shelter for the families of the patients at the families, and the shelter is like an annex to the hospital. So also this will help the patients emotionally and psychologically to recover because their families are also there. So by 1965, so we're going to put it up there. So there is the school. Okay. And then this is beautiful incident about Aparecida. Uh, they didn't know each other in Uberaba, which is interesting, isn't it? But then Chico got to know about Aparecida Hospital. So he went to visit. And also she started looking for him to help some patients that they were having emotional or psychological difficulties. So Aparecida took the patients to the Spirit Center to receive passes. She didn't know anything about Spiritism at the time, but she thought it was something good for them. One of the situations is when she goes to the Spirit Center, the Chico Spirit Center, she gets surprised that she is looking at Chico, but at the same time, she sees someone very familiar behind him. And this is actually a very famous writer in Brazil that passed away at the time. But she didn't say anything because she was very humble and very quiet and like a little mouse, very diligent, working, working, working. So they got this relationship and they shared this common love for the world, for humanity. They both share this motherly love, this altruistic love for human beings, disregard of who they are. In 65, Chico goes and visits the hospital and he noticed that the patients, they only have one pair of pajamas and one linen. So they needed to wash in a very special way every day the pajamas and the linens because remember the skin is kind of sticky to the clothes. So what happened is like every day, Aparecida, very delicate, took the pajamas out from the patients, took the linens, go to wash them in a special way. And then the patients, they need to wait there completely naked, laying on their beds, waiting for the pajamas and the linens to be dry. And obviously, this was very impactful in them, emotionally and psychologically speaking. So Chico saw this, and the next day he sent a donation because Chico he doesn't have also the financial means is by donations. So he sent a donation of linens and pajamas. So 2 pajamas per patient, 2 pair of linens per patient. But more beautiful is like a Aparecida got a gift from Chico. And in the box it was 3 dresses and a pair of shoes. Because Aparecida only have one dress and she didn't have shoes. Self-denial. She didn't even notice because she was so focused in the betterment of her patients and the weather allowed it. She didn't have shoes. And Chico sent her shoes, her size. She didn't say anything to Chico. She didn't say her size, nothing. The dresses fit perfectly and the shoes fit perfectly. It's not beautiful. So they continue the relationship, and in 67, Aparecida becomes a spiritist. She truly gets interest, and so when she started studying, at the same time she decided to bring the gospel according to Spiritism to the patients, the family, and the children, and she creates opportunities for lecturers, for presenters to go there and provide lectures and provide spiritist education to the patient and their families. And in 75, they built the Spirit Center God and Charity. And they built the center as an annex. So now it's a complex of a hospital, of a school, and a spirit center, and a home. And that's what we say spirit centers are, isn't it? It is a school, it is a hospital, it is a home. So currently, the institution shelters not only patients with this illness and their family, so also provides refuge for young adults and adults with special needs, adults that are rejected by their own families and they don't have place to go, so they have shelter there. There is a clinic that opens every day and see about 50 patients per day and is completely free. They also have services of pediatric services and cardiology services for free, and they see 200 patients per month. They also provide not only the medical clinical services that the patients need, but also psychological services for them, because the illness leaves very deeper emotional scars inside of the patient's minds, because it deteriorates the skin. The school now serves more than 900 students, and it's not only the children of the patients, but also children from the area, which is this is a very humble, poor area. So now they are joining this school, and they have all grade levels, and there is also job training for them, so they have some skills in order for them to start working right away. The project also offers more than 1,000 free meals per month, and the project decides to be self-sufficient. They're still depend of donations, but Aparecida and her philosophy of life is you don't need to wait for others to give you, you need to work yourself to acquire. So they have a small recycling plant, so they collect recycling materials and they transform all the recycled materials into bags, plastic bags or trash bags, and they sell this to provide for the institution. Aparecida continue working quietly. Aparecida was a very powerful medium, that also a healing medium that helped not only these very first 12 patients of the wildfire, but a whole community. And also, it's in the story, they narrate how in her spirit center, some people, they come with certain illnesses or aches and pains, and she applied passes to them, and they were free from this. But we wanted to bring the example of Aparecida because she's coming from this very humble origin. She's still in need of the financial support. And in this point of her life in 1958, she just made the decision, the marvelous decision of taking care of 12 patients in her very own home. And she quit the job because she thought that it will be um, good for her. It wasn't with her philosophy and her beliefs to continue working for a house that is called House of Charity, and they are not actually acting as charitable as they say. So all her story of motherly love and altruistic love comes from a very bold decision of taking care of others, even if she needs to sacrifice herself. So we don't know if it's time. Okay, it is time. This is basically what we have for you. Let us keep in mind this beautiful painting that is a mediumistic painting of Mother Mary and her altruistic love for humanity. And that's all what we have for you today.
Alba, thank you so much for this amazing example that you brought to us and sharing this idea with all of us. I did not mention at the beginning, but I want to share with you, excuse me, share with you that the reason we're doing this way today is because she wasn't feeling so well. So she thought that not only to take care of herself and take care of all of us here to do the work at home, right, Alba? But we
Mhm.
hope that you're feeling better there with this amazing work that you're sharing with us, this example. And we would like to hear from you if you have any questions, any comments um, that you would like to share with us. We have
Ooh.
one from Yasko when she's asking, "Hi dear Alba, I feel our love is still very far from the agape love if we still have difficulties to lovingly put in action the left the, let it he or she be, or let it he or she um, yeah, I
Oh,
think
it repeats.
yeah, I don't think that's
Uh-huh. Mm.
to go, especially regarding those under our care. How to practice or set our mind to achieve that end in our current state, I would say.
Hi, Jasquito. Hi. uh, we don't have an answer for that because that's the goal actually. And as Joanna de Angelis expressed in plenitude with the open hand. So when we start learning to ride the bike, isn't it? We try, we fail, we stand up, we get hurt, we damage the bike. We're not proficient. We want just to ride that bike um, as best as possible. But at the beginning, it's hard. But we're not going to learn to ride the bike if we don't try. So it is the same with the altruistic love or motherly love that we all have the capacity and the potential for it, disregard of our status if we are parents or not. Hmm? That's the example of Chico Xavier, isn't it? And Aparecida, the way she loved her patients in comparison with her children, if we are going to talk about from a human point of view.
Mhm.
So we think it's about practice, Jasco. It's about open our hand and give the hand to others. And we can start with the people around us, which is family or friends or co-workers, and continue practicing. As Raul Teixeira says, the more we practice, eventually it will become a habit and eventually it will be natural. It will flow. We need more than one incarnation to do that. But if we don't start now, when? Isn't it?
Very well. Thank you, Alba. Hello, Yasko, to you as well. Always following us still on Saturdays. Always good to see her
Mm,
connected with us, right? Anyone
Abby,
else who would like to share here before we? Abby says, "Thank you, Abita, for this talk. What a lovely example of motherly love that this woman exemplifies. Feel better, Abita."
oh, thank you, Abby.
Anyone else? Oh, but what to say? The question that crosses my mind, and this is something that we can relate it to recently with the studies that we have had, um, in terms of the, and I know we're not supposed to be looking for, as you have exemplified, as you have mentioned, even the different types of love, to waiting for a return. What to say for the ungratefulness of others, that as much as as a mother, as a father, as a caregiver, they do not receive.
The ungrateful children.
Correct.
But
Much like us, right?
isn't the gospel according with the spiritism, isn't it, Leito? Well, when we have ungrateful children or ungrateful friends or ungrateful family, just ungrateful when we do nice things for them and our humanity has a little tiny bit inside of us saying, it's going to say thank you to me. It's like, because that's natural. Let us not be so harsh with us. We are in this road of evolution. We want to get to the point that we're not going to expect anything at all. But somehow we are having some expectation on a little tiny level or in a big level. So with ungrateful children or ungrateful people, uh, we need to continue love them, even though it seems like they don't want us or they don't need us. And this love is not being like a possessive, like we are going after them and saying I love you. No, it's like we are going to continue because the situation of an ungrateful person is that it hasn't realized yet um, the grace of God. Let us put it that way. It's a situation that it belongs to the person and his or her conscience. Are we going to continue helping, assisting, um, supporting the person? That's up to us if we want to continue loving the person. Sometimes it gets hard. It gets very hard, and we want to stop. And no one is obliged to continue loving someone that is ungrateful. But it is good to us to continue loving because we were ungrateful and we are still are. And God still loves us. And we're very grateful with God. And still we have his or her love, isn't it?
Thank you for clarifying that and bringing this reminder as well, because when we connect as well with our own past, and as you said, our present as well, we're still vibrating the same way in many opportunities of life. So it is very much needed for the reminder. Um, just finalizing, if anybody else has. Okay, Kirsten, yes, could have asked over here. It seems that we cannot teach agape love. One has to learn in their own times. How do we manage our own frustrations surrounding those we love who are unkind or lack the ability to love?
It's very, the question is very similar to the previous slide.
Hmm.
Agape, excuse me, Kirsten is there in the audience?
Yes, she is. It is. It is. Yes. I sorry. I asked before she asked. So I guess we're sitting next to one another here. So maybe we're capturing the same idea.
Okay, and with the agape love, it flows naturally among spirits that they love each other. So when we already create these relationships of love, I'm going to give an example on a personal level. I feel very connected with you guys, with the Spirit Society of Baltimore. It's easier for me to share with you a meal. It's easier to create projects. It's easier. We don't have these personal differences because probably we have been growing as a community through different reincarnations, and here we are with this responsibility of the spirit center. I don't know if I'm being too bold here, but it feels easy to create this agape, to respect one another, to have our limits, and to support and help one another. So agape is it comes also naturally, and a way to practice agape. That's one of the purposes of family, among so many other purposes. Is this is create this little tiny community that is in agape usually is to share a meal, to share something together, to build something together, to have a project together. So family is the little scenario in which we can teach our children and we can learn with them this community love. Right?
So would it be more to clarify what you're saying? Would it be more a a consequence uh, instead of a the basis to establish the relationship, right?
Yes, yes,
Because we have been together for some time. So in other words, the this will be developed over time with those that perhaps they don't understand ourselves now.
exactly. And if you want to see a good example, just watch the shows and the TV series about, because it's not about Jesus, it's about the apostles. And it took for them a whole bunch of time to create that community of love. They didn't come already like, I love you, Peter. Oh, I love you, James. Oh, that's right. I respect you, Lucas. Oh, no. So The Chosen is a good example because it was a lot of differences and animosity and discussions and etc. And Jesus was there, just to help. But little by little, they saw that they were having the same cause. They were loving the same person and they wanted the same thing. So they overcame their personal differences in order to build this agape with others.
Very well. Okay. Thank you, Alba. I don't think anyone else has any questions, any comments, and we're very thankful for your um, diligent participation and from home still, but really bringing this message to all of us, setting the tone for this month that is about to end, and the other one that is about to start, and the rest of the year too, for our lives, right? To establish this feeling between ourselves and continue to straighten even more what we have. So thank you for your time. If you would like to stay with us so we can pray together as well.
Mhm.
Um, and also we send our love to you
Thank
as we
you.
go through the passes here as well at the SSP.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Much love to you. Thank you.